I think about having it be an evolution, having it emerge organically. I mean, I don't want to disclose, just how old I am, but when I, started out, I mean, just getting a domain name and a website was considered quite progressive, and things have changed just a little since then. And so the whole idea of the social media machine and where it's what it creates as its own entity is really quite amazing how quickly this has happened. But I think that when you're touching on authenticity, it's making sure that you're not trying to present something that you're not, and let it happen so that and be real about it. And if you're just starting out, that's okay. And if you're midway through your career or starting a whole new chapter of your career, that's a really interesting aspect of building a brand. But I remember when we first got a PR company to help us, they were a little bit stupefied about the idea that our brand was based on diversity. So we didn't have that sort of like really specific stamp of a look. And so they were kind of intrigued about how to take us on.
Did they try to make you say you're one
thing? So they kind of were trying to actually themselves kind of, okay, but is this really your look? And, to be honest, we don't have a look. So we had to kind of really, kind of stand up to them and say, no, you're gonna have to figure this out. Our brand is built on this real diverse style.
Sure. Stop selling. I would just say that. Stop selling, start sharing. Creativity, all that stuff, whether it's a painting on the wall or it's a room or or a restaurant or whatever, it's all about storytelling. So if you are not interested, I don't want to be sold anything. I don't. That's not interesting to me. It's not next level to me. So if you wouldn't say it to someone, if you can't see yourself being comfortable saying it to someone in a casual conversation, don't put it out as your brand message. I think whenever we are thinking about showing a new product or a new project or something like that, we always go back to what are these 4 brand words, or what is the mission statement, like Carrie's talking about, having this mission statement that you go back to, maybe you see it every morning before you start your daily ritual. Does it hit those points? If it doesn't, if it seems inauthentic to you, if it seems pushy or selly, it's gonna seem that way to everybody else. And going back to that idea that we are true creatives. Yes, this is a business. Yes, there's tons of stuff that goes on behind the scenes to make that business work and to make the creativity shine. But when it comes to social media and sharing and all that kind of stuff, I guess I can only talk to what I am interested in and what I respond to, and it's learning something as opposed to being told something. So yeah, that's my advice for that.
So I think in terms of social media, it will only get you as far as your first personal interaction with somebody, and in terms of growing your business. And that's when things become really authentic, because then it's a human-to-human message. Social media is a wonderful platform. We've all been able to use it as a creative platform. We can tell stories that way. But in terms of authentic human-to-human interaction, that can't be replaced with social media. It never will. I hope it never will. So use it as a platform. It's different for me. Ryan and Carrie have an actual brand and a product. So in terms of curating what they're putting out into the world is probably a little bit different than from a sense of, I'm not necessarily a brand, I'm a designer. So in terms of what I'm thinking when I'm doing something, I'm not thinking, okay, is this right for my brand? No, is this right for my client? Is this right for the project that I'm working on? And is this right for me? And then it goes out there, and because of the evolution of, I've been in the industry for 10 years, what I was doing at the beginning of 10 years is very different from what it is now. I don't necessarily know what it's going to be in a year from now, 2 years from now. So for me to set out the next 6 months of this is what my brand's going to look like out in the world in terms of social media, I don't know those answers. So I might put something out that I'll look back in a little while and go, oh, that was kind of weird. But so what? Move on.
Exactly.
I think I take more of the brand approach. I'm more of a, how can I say this, private person, so I don't share as much on a personal level. So it was hard for me, you guys. It was social media was really hard. I'm just being very honest, but I think the approach that I was able to do, because I'm not going to share pictures of my dog and I'm not going to share pictures of client projects. I run out of there and I have to go actually back in the house, take a picture, and then get back in the car, because it just isn't natural. So our approach was, what is our narrative? What does our brand say? What's our approach to everything that I like? Because social media is kind of about the brand and I'm the brand, so what's the narrative? Are we consistent with it? And how does my creative DNA imprint on that? And then how do I push that back out into the world under my brand? And that's the only thing that I know how to do. I'm not young enough to have experienced what Brian's talking about. I'm not comfortable with it as much. I'm not as intimate. And I'm just, it's just not me. So I had to find a different approach that my marketing director's like, you need to do this. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. She's like, no, you need to do this. So
Did you
we're working
listen?
on that. Yes, I'm working on it, Stacy. I'm working on it. But I'm just being honest. It was hard for me. So I take more of a brand distance approach.
It's like I don't do everything. I would say it's like with Twitter, I don't understand that at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. The words, I wish it could just be photography, sharing images, sharing beautiful things.
Instagram?
Like Instagram, that thing, yeah.
I like
so
Instagram.
like, yeah, I like that because there's like, I like photography. I kind of like the creating this moment or whatever and sharing it instantly. But yeah, so there's tons of things that I just don't feel comfortable with either. The blog world, Twitter, stuff like that. So it's kind of like Carrie said, like do what you're comfortable with, because if you're not comfortable with it, it'll be seen.
Yeah, and it won't be consistent.
Yeah.
And what I've seen with my friends is they get all excited about it. Well, who's doing that daily? Who's maintaining it? If you can't maintain it, don't do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you might actually find that you're not the best one to do it. For me, I'm just not good at it. So I have somebody on my team that's much better at it than I am, and she is able to create more consistency and to be putting things out there that are identifiable and beyond beige, and it's better, much better than me doing it.
That's a really good point just to bring up in general, to not do the things you're not good at.